Entrepreneurial Edge is brought to you by Business Banking from FNB, because small ideas can lead to big business. FNB, how can we help you?
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now, we've all been thankful for these places on a slow Sunday afternoon. I'm talking about the video shop around the corner. You can drop in and pick up your favorite Marlon Brando picture, or the latest Matt Damon, or X-Men if you like, that sort of thing. What we forget is that the people who run these video shops are all entrepreneurs, and hard-working ones at that. It's a difficult business these days. You've got competition from online, satellite, and even the DVD pirates. So this week, we look at a couple of entrepreneurs who've made their fortune with a company called The Video Spot. They are brothers, Mike and Roger Hugo, who opened their first video shop in Craighall, Johannesburg, 30 years ago. Let's take a look at their business.
Look, the company started in about 1981. My father and Mike, they started it up, and they kind of like got into the business because they're really people's people, and they're obviously, being from England, they're very streetwise in that, and they started getting all the British stuff in, which was slightly different to the average video store in those days. I mean, they started off in Craighall, and there was about 8 stores in the whole area. So they're taking it from there, and I think being customer orientated and people's people, they got to know everyone, and they started pushing everything, and that's how it took off, really. They bought copy depth at one stage, where the shops were buying 1 or 2 videos, they would buy 10, 12. So and that's one of the major things in how Video Spot's taken off over the years. We're up to about 14, 15 stores now. Over the years, what's happened is a lot of customers would come in and see this particular store. It has moved 3 different places in Craighall over the years, and they've been so amazed by it that they've said, well, let's have our own video spot. And so they've gone into that kind of industry. But they've always kept it very small, so they control it rather than having these massive franchises where they can't control it. And some of the big, otherwise some of the franchises get out of hand. You get too many people and you can't look after them. So they've been really hands-on on their franchise. Keep it small, keep everyone happy, and try and use the same techniques that you have here. We've expanded our industry with all sorts of stuff, rather than just the brand new releases which modern video shops do these days as well. We do British, we do art films, we have all imported stuff. So the difference between us and the normal stores, they come in here and they can get just about anything they want. And we take it our pride to try and get what we don't have. So if someone comes and says, hey guys, do you have this? We say, unfortunately we do, or we don't, and we try and get it in. What would happen is the big stores in the country will always do very well, because there's always certain things that people want to see on DVD. You have, I suppose, the big competition is downloading and probably box office on TV. But then again, there's only so much you can do with that. Where if a good store has all the variety of stuff, people come in, they can choose all the stuff, which is good. I think the biggest challenge is the convenience of the customer coming out to get a movie. We'd go home again. It takes time. I think in this day and age, people have less time than they had, say, 20 years ago, where they have more time to come out, get a movie, bring it back on time. Plus, they're getting the options of downloading something or pay-per-view TV like overseas. So it's big pressure on the big stores overseas as well. But I think you always have those certain people and a certain clientele who love coming out to a DVD store, seeing the people, interacting with the staff, which is what we base our things, ourselves on.
Now in the studio to tell the story behind the Video Spot, we have the co-founder, Mike Hugo. Unfortunately, Roger couldn't make it, he's away on holiday. But we have also Mike's son and part of the franchising business, Chris Hugo. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Let's start off with you, Mike. Now, you originally came to this country to kick balls for a living rather than selling DVDs. What happened?
That's true, Chris. My brother was playing football here for Highlands Park in the early, late 60s, 1960s that is, not the 1860s. And he asked me to come out. He said, you can play football here, we can earn some money. It's a good standard, and so I did, and it's been wonderful ever since, I must say.
Who did you play for? How many games? And what was it like those days?
Well, those days, Berea Park was the first side I played for. My brother played at PE City and Highlands, and we used to get good crowds, really good crowds, and it was a fantastic atmosphere. And we used to play, we used to play every weekend. And it was, it was exciting. We had some really good players come over, the Johnny Haynes and the Budgie Burns, and these players, the Bobby Moores, they were just fantastic to play with when we were lucky to play with them. George Best, as you mentioned before, he was out here for a little while, and it was really good stuff.
And you played over at Berea Park in Pretoria.
In Pretoria.
And what sort of crowds you used to get there those days?
We used to get about, I think, between about 10, 12,000 people sometimes. And when we played the local derby against Arcadia, then it was just full to the rafters.
Christopher, yourself, I mean, I know you're in the video business together, but are you a footballer too?
Sort of part-time footballer. Yeah, I didn't really hit the heights like they did, but I just do it for fun more than anything now.
And you play on the left wing and your father play on the right wing. Yeah. Okay, so obviously once your football career was finished, how did you become an entrepreneur after that?
Well, I was with plate glass for a while. I learnt the management techniques, running a small store, and a friend of mine wanted me to get involved with him. He'd opened a video store. I said, I'll do the same thing. We opened in Craighall Park. Within 6 months he'd gone back to England, and my brother had come out. He'd gone back to England, my brother, for a while, and he'd come out again with his wife, and he bought out my partner, and we started. And late 81, 82, we began the video spot. And
yourself, Chris, have you been working in the store since you can remember?
Oh, jeez, I remember as a kid having to go help when we had VHSs. I used to have to rewind the VHSs because obviously no one returned them. Rewound. But used to 9, 8 years old, something like that. Used to be in the back there for hours rewinding piles of tapes. Yeah.
But didn't there used to be a sticker in there saying, please be kind, rewind? Yeah, I always used to, but I'm sure most people didn't.
That's
but
right.
Your early beginnings of this video, so how humble was Humble?
They were humble. I mean, we had probably 20 movies. We stuck those on the wall. People would try and tear them off. And that's how many movies we had. So whenever we made money, we just bought more and more stock, just piled in the stock, and which was the only way to go. And then we got more customers, more movies, more customers, and built up over a couple of years. Yeah.
And how fast you went? One small shop, the one in Craighall in Johannesburg, you mentioned in the intro. So you went from 20 movies there. How fast was that growth? We're talking about 1981, isn't it? You started.
1981, yeah, end of 81. We just piled in the movies. It took a while. It probably took 2 or 3 years, but we were expanding all the time. It was only a small place to start with. Then we added on a couple of rooms, went further up the road, and got into a shopping centre. Then got a bigger area in the shopping centre, and it's progressed. We just needed more space.
And these are early days. I mean, bearing in mind television had only been around 5 or 6 years here in South Africa at that time.
Right, yeah.
What were people like? I mean, were they queuing out the door or what?
Well, the thing is, with the TV, every time something happened, like TV4 came along, and E-News came along, and this news, different channels came along, and everyone said, oh, end of the video business, definitely. And at that time, we always bought double what we normally did. And we made a splash, and hope the other stores around, because there were quite a few, and they didn't do it that way, and we progressed, and that's the way it's been.
And Chris, I mean, you're at the other end. I mean, this was before you were born, I assume, you know, when your family started this. But how do you see it today? I mean, this must have been boom times in the early 80s, but what about now?
I think there were definitely boom times, but, you know, nowadays we face a lot more challenges, obviously, with the piracy and all that sort of stuff. But it's still going strong. People still love to get their DVDs. You know, you pay a fortune for these fantastic home entertainment systems, and you know, they want quality viewing, and it makes more sense to rent it than have to buy stock that they can't get.
I mean, you had a dream, well, it looks like a dream run from the outside for 30 years, but there must have been days when you wanted to pack it all in. Surely, like everyone else, you must have had problems with the banks lending.
Oh yes, well, initially was we wanted 5,000 rand, so we approached a bank, which shall be nameless.
Ah, of course.
They told us, yes, you can have 5,000 rand as long as you give us 5,000 rand to start with. And I thought the fella's hearing was wrong, so I did the request again, and he said the same thing. I said, so you don't really want to lend us any money? He said, well, I've told you what we can do. So I went to another bank, who will also be nameless. The manager of that bank came to the store and offered us a 30,000 rand overdraft. I said, we don't want 30,000. He said, but you can have it. I can see you're going to go places. And luckily he was right. So,
was there a day when you wanted to pack it in, chuck it all away?
No.
No? Never?
Never. It's always been, as you are, if you're a film fundy, I'm a film fundy. I like movies. And we like the people that come into the shops. I mean, I had one day at the counter, one guy wanted to buy some land. The other woman I knew wanted to sell some land. They did the deal there on the counter. Nothing to do with videos. But it's a personal thing with us. We get to know all the locals, the people know us, and that's the way it's gone.
And you've spread out. I mean, Chris, you're in charge of the franchising of this. What model are you using for people who want to get involved in this?
To be honest, we model every store on our original store in Craighall. What we like to do is get as much stock as we can, get movies that other stores don't have, provide service that other stores don't. We like to be friendly with our customers, and basically we encourage all our franchisees to go along the model of Craighall.
And that's one thing, you do have movies. I mean, well, the problem I have as a film buff going around the video stores is that every video store's got the same. And it's often the same ones you don't like, or wouldn't watch if you were paid.
Absolutely.
But you say you've got older movies.
We've got lots of old movies.
So if I walk in there and I say I want Humphrey Bogart's first movie that wasn't so successful, what would you do if you didn't have it? Where would you go?
We would attempt to get it for you. We would, if it was possible to get, we would get it. We would let you know it, and then you would come and rent it from us. Or if you wanted to buy it, you could also buy it.
Okay, a personal touch. Well, obviously there's a lot of difficulties as well in the business. We'll talk about that in the second half. But first we're going to a break, and after the break we'll talk more about the business behind DVD rentals. We'll see you after this.